My fellow Americans.
Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
A man holds in his mortal hand the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
One day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
He says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that.
Don't look up, it's as the world burns.
What's up with this leaked footage? What am I about to watch? Oh, alien footage?
Oh yeah, dude, that's from the 1990s. That's what we got to talk about, the Virginia incident. And that footage, is it still up? You can still watch it?
Yeah.
That like randomly leaked today, and a guy's been talking about for a while about how like he had leaked footage that was like alien shit.
It's just like a dead alien on the ground curled up. And then it shows his hand shaking because he's genuinely afraid.
Yeah, and apparently they took in the aliens, and the aliens basically told us that if we don't shape up, that we will basically be destroyed.
Come on, guys. It's not up to us. Fucking aliens acting like, oh, yeah, me. I'll just go tell everybody else, hey, guys, we got to stop being bad. Hey, you bad guys, better stop being bad. It's like, why don't you guys just stop them?
They want us to have free will, I guess.
But it's not our free will. We don't want that to happen.
I gotta see this alien. I haven't watched this video either.
Oh, it's pretty fucked up. It's like pretty like horrible quality.
It's from 1992, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the alien just curled up over there.
Yeah, it looks like it's dead.
Oh shit! He zooms in, and you can. Oh, whoa!
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. If that's real, that's crazy. That's like that looks like what, Zeta Reticuli?
Well, yeah, it looks like a gray, but dark charcoal black with red eyes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Zeta Reticuli are the like smart ones too. They're like the chill grays. So if this just crashed and just humans just started like acting like assholes towards them, then it makes sense that they would say all this shit.
It doesn't look so small at the next angle. He like goes behind some trees to look at it. It looks actually bigger. Unless he's looking at a different one.
I see the one you're talking about right now.
It's got this weird ridge in its head that makes it look not gray-like.
The subspecies of the grays, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow, this is crazy. It's like running away. Shaking. Crazy.
Why does it have to be some guy who's like deathly afraid of it and just like doesn't interact with it at all and just keeps filming it from different angles far away? Why can't he just like nudge it and be like, hey, wake up. Are you okay?
I kind of like that he's filming it at different angles, honestly.
Well, that's fine, but why is he like staying, like just fucking talk to it? Just fucking...
Well, if all of this is legit, then this is like probably some of the best footage we've ever seen of like an alien encounter. I kind of want to just put a picture of the dead alien on the podcast and just like show it. That's what we're talking about instead of putting the whole video.
Cool. Dude, this is the shit I was talking about, how like there's people who like conduct magic within religions and like don't tell the rest of the religion about it, and like people, most of the religion will think that like that's actually anti their religion, but secretly it's actually what their religion's all about. Watch that clip I just sent you. It's the reason why all of the American presidents go kiss the wall.
You ready to get into Bluebeam?
Yes.
We got a lot of air to cover.
Dude, this made me feel good just now. Real quick, I just want to mention, I guess Kid Cudi was in Happy Gilmore too.
Yep.
So I haven't seen that yet, but I'm just seeing all these photos of him with the cast and Ben Stiller and Adam Sandler. It's like, good. Like, surround yourself with good people in the industry so that like you're safer from all the bad people that are now going to be after you.
Yeah, we'll see.
After he came out against Diddy.
We'll see what happens. So today we're going to be talking about Project Bluebeam. For anyone that doesn't know, Project Bluebeam is the supposedly on Warner von Braun's or Werner von Braun's deathbed, however you pronounce his name. He was the Nazi scientist that became the like head of NASA and like the godfather of modern rocketry. For anyone that doesn't know, he in Operation Paperclip, all that kind of stuff. He basically said on his deathbed to his like assistant or somebody that he knew, a certain government was planning on instituting a fake alien invasion, and that this would lead to like a new world order and martial law and a restructuring of the entire like world government, basically. And he said that a lot of people were involved in this and disinformation, and he said that there was a lot of things to basically say that this was coming up. He also did say that it was going to happen in the 90s and maybe the 2000s, and he died of a heart attack in the 90s before anything could happen. You never know. Something could have happened, and this could have all been postponed to later on. One thing that I think is interesting is that we've talked about this. There's a lot of people that say in the CIA and all the in disclosure kind of circles that all this disclosure is going to come to a head in 2025 to like 2027, that kind of area of time. And 2025 seems to be like one of the biggest like indicators or like drops of all the dates. Yeah, right. It's kind of interesting with everything that's like going on right now too, that was always been like the idea. But Warner von Braun basically said that it was gonna be something where they were gonna stage an alien invasion. The reason why I wanted to do this episode is because there's been a lot of like talk actually recently about like this Harvard astrophysicist says that it's a group of, I guess, pretty smart guys who have like basically it's like 3 of them who've taken a look at this interstellar object that's entered our solar system, and it's just kind of buzzing around the solar system. Yeah, they're pretty much saying that it's something odd. It's not something ordinary. It might be a quote hostile alien spacecraft is I think what they wrote in the report or whatever. It's the size of Manhattan. If that did show up, that would be pretty crazy. Seeing that in the sky. Imagine just seeing like 20 of those things, 30, 50 of those things just across the sky, across the world.
That would be terrifying.
That would be like, that would be nuts. Just one of these things we detect, and then just they all just like, pop out of nowhere because that was just the lead ship. So now we're talking about all this, and another thing that happened today that we both just saw before this episode was there was back in 1992 supposedly there was a crash. I think it was in South America. There was a supposed crash in Brazil, and in 1996, I guess. And what I guess happened was a lot of these aliens. There was a video that came out today that it supposedly shows a VHS tape of like the aliens dead on the ground, and I'll try to put like a picture of that in this, or at least like a quick snippet of it or something like that. Maybe not the whole video because it's pretty shaky cam, and it gives you a little bit of a headache. But that could just also be like the important shit that you're seeing too. But I also don't want to give any of my viewers epilepsy either. But the Virginia UFO incident, supposedly they found a couple of this is how the story goes. Allegedly they found like a couple of actual like alive aliens, and they took them to a hospital and they worked on them a little bit and then shipped them off to like the United States where they talked to them. And supposedly there's I think a video, if I'm not mistaken, that's from like 1996 that shows them interviewing the alien. The alien is like terrified, but he's basically just saying that that like humanity is like, they're being judged basically. I bring up all of this because, this could all be the case. We could be, heading towards an area of a great judgment day for humanity, where we have to basically, we have to look at our fellow star brethren, so to speak, and understand that there's something greater than us out there, or something more than us, not just greater than us. One other thing that we talked about too was Oumuamua, which is it's a supposed asteroid, but a lot of people think it's also it might be just like a satellite, an alien satellite that's like going through outer space. I never really looked too deep into Oumuamua. Is that's pretty much that's an accurate thing, right? People think it's a a comet or something, or an asteroid?
Oumuamua?
Yeah,
It's a satellite. It's just like something that's been up there.
that's weird. I wonder what it is. That's the question. Another thing I wanted to mention too, I was gonna talk about a lot of this actually in the news segment of this month, but honestly, there's so much news that's happened this month, and really, just this whole UFO thing could just be its own thing. But I wanted to add a few of the other news articles from what happened with this month. UFO watchers panic after massive fire breaks out near Area 51. It's just interesting that a lot of this stuff is happening, and Area 51 supposedly there's a fire next to it in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Not only the interstellar object that entered our solar system, but like because of all this Epstein stuff, we basically might get existence of extraterrestrial life leaked out from the government because they're trying to cover their tracks potentially, or cover their asses. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I wanted to get into a quick little history thing about, it's called The Eagle and the Serpent. This was written by somebody. It's supposedly about our origins with the Anunnaki.
Here we go.
Here we go. Throughout history, humanity has been influenced by forces beyond our understanding. Ancient texts, myths, and unexplained phenomena hint at a grand narrative involving extraterrestrial beings, hidden technologies, and cycles of societal upheaval. This theory seeks to connect these dots, exploring the possibility that our past, present, and future are part of a larger cosmic story involving the Anunnaki, beings from the planet Nibiru, and impending shifts that may reshape our world. The ancient Sumerian and Akkadian creation stories. The Sumerian creation epics describe the Anunnaki deities from Nibiru's planet faced atmospheric decay. To repair it, they sought monoatomic gold, believed to have the ability to stabilize their atmosphere and extend their lifespans. What the hell would monoatomic gold be? I don't know.
That's like the purest form of gold?
Maybe. A gold that's not used up. Their journey to Earth required navigating the treacherous hammered bracelet, interpreted as the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. To facilitate transport of gold, they established a way station on Mars, referred to as Lamu in the cuneiform tablets. Mars served as a critical relay point, easing the transfer of precious materials and reducing the risks associated with direct travel between Earth and Nibiru. I think this is filling in a lot of gaps. The birth of monotheism in Egypt with Amun-Ra in ancient Egypt. Akhenaten's introduction of monotheism through the worship of Aten marked a significant shift. Some theorists suggest this was influenced by the Anunnaki, particularly Marduk, known as Ra, son of Enki. Marduk aimed to centralize worship and power, mirroring the Anunnaki's hierarchical structure. By promoting a single deity, he would consolidate control, aligning human governance with the Anunnaki's interests. Moral of the story: Enlil and Enki realize history repeats itself. The rival between Enlil and Enki, brothers and leading figures among the Anunnaki, has been a driving force in human history. Enlil, associated with authority and control, often clashed with Enki, the patron of wisdom and creation. Realizing that their conflicts led to repeated cycles of destruction and rebirth, they acknowledge the pattern of history repeating itself. This recognition underscores the idea that without fundamental change, societies are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. It's a good thing to keep into mind there. Foundations of society, religion, and forgotten technologies. The Anunnaki are credited with imparting essential knowledge to humanity, including agriculture, astronomy, mathematics, and writing, cuneiform. Ancient tablets hint at advanced technologies. Celestial chariots, possible references to spacecraft or advanced vehicles. Tablets, artifacts containing laws, scientific knowledge, and possibly technological blueprints. And the Derenki, translated as bond heaven earth, potentially indicating communication or transport devices linking Earth with other realms. These technologies, once accessible to humans, may have been lost or suppressed over time, leading to gaps in our historical and technological understanding. The eagle and the serpent and the destruction via nuclear weapons. Symbols such as the eagle, Enlil symbol, and the serpent, Enki symbol, represent the factions within the Anunnaki. Ancient texts describe devastating wars between these factions. Weapons of terror, alleged nuclear devices used in conflicts leading to the destruction of cities like Sodom and Gomorrah. Radioactive sites, areas in unusually high radiation levels, and traces of ancient nuclear events. Survivor accounts, descriptions, and texts resembling the effects of radiation sickness and Marduk's domain survived these cataclysms, allowing him to ascend in power and be declared supreme by Anu, the Anunnaki king. Why religions end up worshipping the devil as Marduk solidified his control. Narratives were altered. Enki, once humanity's ally, was recast as a rebellious figure, the serpent who defied divine order by granting humans knowledge. This transformation portrays Enki as the devil, in later religious texts shifting worship towards deities that favored obedience over enlightenment. This reframing served to suppress independent thought and maintain control over human societies. So there you go. The eagle may not be so good after all, I guess, according to this, right? That's what they're saying, that it might have flipped a little bit.
Yeah, well, balance in all things.
Yeah, exactly. The UAP phenomenon, Mars is the way station, the Anunnaki's purpose. The resurgence of UAP sightings may indicate renewed Anunnaki activity. Mars, with its mysterious structures and anomalies, remains a focal point. And the Mars anomalies, images of formations resembling artificial structures, suggest remnants of the ancient way station. Government interest, increased missions to Mars may be attempts to reconnect with Anunnaki technology or monitor their return. And resource extraction, the Anunnaki might be resuming their quest for Earth's resources, with Mars serving as an operational base. And the secrecy around UAPs could stem from the government's inability to control or disclose interactions with these beings. A one-world government in the evolution/repetition of the story. The push towards a one-world government reflects the Anunnaki's reference for centralized authority. Modern parallels include AI. Humanity's creation of AI mirrors the Anunnaki's genetic engineering of humans, a new form of subordinate intelligence. Technological dependence. As society becomes more reliant on technology, control can be exerted more efficiently by those who command these systems. And the repetition of patterns. The same cycles of creation, control, rebellion, and destruction repeat, suggesting that humanity following a script set by the Anunnaki. Marduk's cycle ending in humanity's fight for independence. As Nibiru orbit brings it closer, Marduk's era may be concluding. Humanity faces a pivotal choice. Submission to Anunnaki rule, accepting external control in exchange for technological advances or perceived stability, embracing Enki's legacy, pursuing knowledge, autonomy, and equality, breaking free from cycles of manipulation. The story of Adapa and Tiamat symbolizes this choice. Enki's gift of knowledge empowered humans to think independently, challenging the imposed order. Is a culling inevitable? Why those in power may be preparing for it, and how we can stop it in modern times. Contributors versus consumers. A small percentage drives progress while the majority rely on systems they don't understand. A resource strain despite abundance, mismanagement, and overconsumption that create artificial scarcity. Elite perspective. Those in power might view the majority as hindrance to survival and progress.
Yup. Yup.
Historical precedent. Throughout history, elites have taken drastic measures to maintain control during times of upheaval. Technological leverage, advances in AI and biotechnology could enable targeted actions to reduce the population. Survival of the fittest, a belief that only the adaptable and contributory should continue in the future, avoiding the inevitable. Collective awareness, recognizing patterns of division and manipulation is the first step. Overcoming basic instincts, moving beyond entitlement and complacency to embrace critical thinking and empathy. And unity and resilience, fostering community, sharing knowledge, and preparing for potential disruptions. And always challenging the narrative, refusing to participate in conflicts manufactured to divide and weaken society. By actively choosing a different path, humanity can break the cycle of history repeating itself. Instead of succumbing to fear and division, we can build a future based on mutual respect, understanding, and shared progress. So yeah, I think that got the point across of what I was trying to make with that. But pretty interesting there. Supposedly, the Anunnaki might be coming back, or maybe if it's Operation Bluebeam, the government's going to fake the Anunnaki coming back, and we're going to be all fucked either way.
It's called Project Bluebeam.
Yeah.
Because the Anunnaki have blue.
The first thing you say. I love it. Hey, watch this. Watch this video.
Oh, she likes Dr. Greer. She's a Greerhead. She's a Greerdo.
She's a weirdo. All right, so I think we get the gist of it. So you have your qualms about this whole thing because she's into Greer?
I didn't say that.
No, I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't trust Greer, as in like, not that I distrust him or like I think that like he's a liar. I have no reason to trust him. I just don't like It's very neutral. It's not a negative thing.
Ah, I gotcha.
Like, why should I believe Dr. Stephen Greer?
Why should I believe Dr. Stephen Greer? All right, so earlier we were talking about the 2027 says that there's four potential things that could happen in 2027, or I should say between now and 2027. The aliens will be back to destroy us using the sun or an asteroid as a weapon, and the US government will be foolish to think that its space weapons will defend against them. It's possibility number one. Number two, the aliens will come on 2027 to save us from a solar or asteroid cataclysm. Number three, the US government is creating a mass psyops to convince everybody to accept a space weapons program. So far, that seems to be the closest. And number four, there will be no cataclysm, but the aliens will make contact in 2027 and the government start slow disclosure. So this post also was from a lot of these posts are from a few years ago. I had them saved from literally like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So a lot of these are like before COVID and everything. So it's just interesting to think about like what people said. Here's one that came after COVID. And this is what somebody said, extinction level event theory. Early last year, again, this is somebody else's writing. Early last year, I came to the conclusion that an extinction level event by 2030 is the motive for COVID, the Great Reset, and the forthcoming World War III. Admittedly, there's no definitive proof, but it's an inevitable conclusion when you connect the dots. Number one, ancient ruins like the Great Pyramid, which we still can't replicate, prove that a prior advanced civilization existed before us. Many previous advanced civilizations have likely been wiped out by a cyclic cataclysm. The last major cataclysm apparently happened 12,900 years ago, during the Younger Dryas period, and likely coincided with the end of Atlantis and the global Great Flood. Number two, the Earth's magnetic field has been declining for centuries. The weakening magnetic field diminishes the Earth's protection from cosmic electromagnetic fields, affecting the global electric circuit. And that would explain why we've had a lot of crazy, events lately with, electromagnetic field type things.
Yeah, things like that, but not exactly that. Other forms of physics that create force fields.
Well, exactly. You pretty much nailed what I was thinking. Like like weather phenomenon, things of that nature.
I don't know. I was just bullshitting. But you know what? Hell yeah.
All right, cool. The weakening magnetic field diminishes the Earth's protection from the cosmic electromagnetic field, affecting the global electric circuit, which includes all life on this planet. Solar flares, pink auroras, earthquakes, volcanic activity, and extreme weather in 2024 are a harbinger of severe Earth changes in the near future. The CO2 climate change psyop is a political cover for these Earth changes. It's also possible that chemtrails in conjunction with HARP are an attempt to counter the effects of the waning magnetic field. These Earth changes will likely culminate in a crustal displacement pole shift when the Earth's magnetic field flips, in quotes, slowly at first, then all at once. There's strong evidence for the existence of numerous dumb bases. Only an ELE justifies their construction. A 2016 Reddit Underground Town post predicted a major life-altering event in early 2020. We talked about that. That would be followed a bit later by an extinction-level event. The Anglo-Saxon mission interview from 2010 made a similar prediction. And the 2022 Phoenix hypothesis postulates that geopolitical events in 2020 are staged and are being used by the powers that be to covertly prepare for an extinction-level event. Supply chain shortages during lockdowns might have actually been caused by diverting supplies to these bases. Powers that be are apparently thinning the herd before the event. World War III might be about establishing martial law before severe Earth changes that precede the extinction-level event cause societal chaos. The powers that be have also obviously ramped up propaganda and psyops and political discord as distraction. An extinction-level event could also explain why the powers that be seem to be waiting for an extinction-level trigger. If the powers that be really want World War III, then why the delay? If they want to crash the economy, then what are they waiting for? One, suspicious observers, that's a handle, Jason Brashears and Douglas Vaught on YouTube all predict an extinction level event in 2046, but I suspect it'll be sooner than that. Number 2, numerous looming disasters. The global debt, derivatives bubble, severe pollution, deforestation, soil erosion, peak oil, and the depletion of natural resources means that shit hitting the fan is inevitable now, but the powers that be don't seem to care. An imminent extinction level event would explain why, of course. The zeitgeist has an undeniable eschatological vibe, and there's lots of predictive programming such as the 2012 and Greenland films. The most likely mechanism of a cyclic cataclysm is a crustal displacement pole shift that is mediated by a precession of the equinoxes, which completes a full cycle in 26,000 years. The precession is apparently the basis for much of mythology according to the seminal 1969 Hamlet's Mill book. The fact that ancient cultures were aware of the precession cycle also proves that a prior advanced civilization existed. The precession is the apparent shifting of the 12 constellations of the zodiac. E.g., if the evening sky is observed at the same time every year, say 3/21, the spring equinox, then the observed constellation will gradually shift over to the next one over 2,000 years. So the entire precession takes 12 times over 2,000 years, equaling out to 26,000 years. The exact timing is disputed and may vary from cycle to cycle, with estimates ranging from 24,000 to 25,920 years. 2,000 years ago, we entered the age of Pisces and are now entering or have already entered the age of Aquarius. The problem is the age of Aquarius, also known as the age of the Phoenix, marks the completion of the full cycle of the precession, and a cataclysm is associated with both the half cycle, the Younger Dryas cataclysm about 12,000 years ago, and the full cycle. S.K. Bain's Blackjack book says the powers that be regard 12/21/2021 as the nominal completion of the precession's full cycle. Bain predicted a major occult ritual to commemorate this milestone. Also believes that Never Forget was an occult ritual related to the precession's countdown. Is it a coincidence that COVID occurred in 2020/2021 and was suddenly over by early 2022? Mainstream science attributes the precession to a wobble in the Earth's orbit like a spinning top. Alt science says the precession results from the solar system's orbit around the galactic center due to the plasma flow per the electric universe model, not gravity. In this model, the precession is due to the solar system's orbit with a binary partner, Sirius, which also orbits Alcyone, the galactic center. The Code of Hathor, a 2020 book, says the sun's plasma flow to the Earth reverses polarity with every half cycle of the precession orbit, and the resultant magnetic reversal causes a pole shift as the Earth realigns itself with the new field orientation. An alternative theory says certain regions of space have intense energy levels which are absorbed by the sun, triggering a solar micronova event. Although we should be skeptical of mysticism, there might also be a metaphysical aspect to this event. In 2012, there was a tremendous hype and trepidation about the end of the Mayan calendar, and the numerous false predictions, including the 2008 Hidden Hand Illuminati interview, that a spiritual ascension/rapture-like event would coincide with the end of the world on 12/21/2012. The Hidden Hand interview claimed our existence is an illusion, a game which resets every 26,000 years per the precession of the equinoxes. There are recent claims the 2012 ascension was merely delayed and will happen in the near future. In this scenario, our current situation is like the 1990 final episode of Newhart, in which events become increasingly surreal as part of a great reveal/great awakening, i.e. the end game. All right, so that's what that guy said about that, and I think he nailed a lot of that. I think it really it's enlightening to read that at a time like this also, since we've experienced all these things. I mean, he only wrote that probably like 6 months ago, but still, he didn't mention any of the what do you call it, the drone. So he probably wrote that about a year ago, honestly. But interesting to postulate or think about.
Yeah.
That was taking things from the mythological aspect and how it could be a repeat cycle. And this could be the Anunnaki, and we could be heading towards something, there. We did touch on the Bluebeam a little bit, but this post right here, it talks a lot about Project Bluebeam and Bill Cooper and John Lear and a lot of the main players in this. Project Bluebeam is on. What's the time frame? I don't have any idea, none at all. But judging by how long this game has been happening, I would say we have time. How long has Project Bluebeam been taking place? That's tough to say as well. Why? Well, to put it simply, we can't tell what part of the phenomenon, as they like to call it, is real and what's fake. because I don't think that everything associated with reports of UFOs is a fake. Some of it is real, no doubt, but not all of them, and definitely not the disclosure. I used to believe they were extraterrestrial in nature and mostly still do. This doesn't mean that all reports of ET are extraterrestrial in origin. An alien life existing doesn't automatically exclude the existence of a supreme being or intelligence over our existence. Does that make sense and cover all the bases? I hope so, because we aren't in a position where we can close our minds to any possibility. Not anymore. Not when those behind the scenes are doing their best to confuse us to keep their authority over us. Okay, let's start. Bill Cooper. Have you noticed the distinctions they made when it comes to the phenomenon? So they've been taking places into 3 categories: underwater, submerged objects, unexplained aerial phenomenon, and finally interdimensional beings. Why? Is there another force in play they can't control? A force which would derail their Project Bluebeam plans? I think there is. What is that force? At this point, it's unknown.
Yeah.
But they really, really want to cover all the bases. And the official starting point where I think Bluebeam started was Bill Cooper. According to Cooper's first post, in 1966, he was serving aboard the USS Tiru when he and fellow Navy personnel witnessed a metal craft, larger than a football field, repeatedly enter and exit the water. Cooper claimed he was instructed by superiors to never speak about the incident. Biographer Mark Jacobson argues the Tiru incident itself would not have done much to make Cooper's name in ufology. That opportunity came only a few days later when he was contacted by fellow Paranet poster John Olson Lear. Lear, the son of Learjet founder Bill Lear, identified as a pilot who had flown missions for the CIA. Lear was the author of a post titled The UFO Cover-Up, which incorporated elements of mythos from Paul Benowitz, a UFO researcher who was later revealed to have been fed disinformation by American counterintelligence agent Richard Doty. Cooper soon visited Lear, and the two spent much time together from 88 to 90. Bill Cooper, the man who seemed to be really connecting the dots, the man who first put the notion of a fake alien invasion into the human consciousness, the man who was killed shortly after, never forget. And what many people claim to be retaliation for exposing that event, it was his personal observations that brought underwater submerged objects into our peer view, and he was convinced the American government was working with aliens, especially after John Lear came into the picture. Except there was one problem, as there always is when dealing with the intelligence ops. John Lear seemed to be an agent provocateur who was manipulating Bill into believing there would be a real alien invasion.
Oh, he was like a proto Richard Doty.
I guess so. Cooper and Lear's collaboration, that kind of sucks because I kind of like John Lear a little bit. Cooper and Lear's collaboration only lasted a few years, after which Cooper accused Lear of being a CIA plant. And I agree, I won't go into reasons because they are too far outside the purview of this post, but suffice to say Bill Cooper was smart enough or paranoid enough to question everything and not be led astray. Yet we still have one big problem. If Bill was telling the truth, we have a giant football-sized metal craft entering and exiting the water. So either Bill was telling the truth, or Bill was part of Project Bluebeam, or they managed to brainwash Bill into believing he saw a giant underwater metal craft. So which is it? Let's break it down. 1. If any government of the planet was really in possession of such advanced technology, do you really think they wouldn't use it to assert their authority over the whole planet? Because I don't, not for 1 minute. Number 2. If Bill Cooper was in on Project Bluebeam, why would he start accusing Bill Lear of being a CIA operator and claiming there was a Project Bluebeam? Bill Cooper was actually brainwashed this is number 3. Bill Cooper was actually brainwashed into believing that a metal craft was entering and exiting the water, and somehow years later he started to break free from his programming. I want to add a 4th plausibility too. The government does have this technology, but so do a lot of the other world's governments. And it's the next step of mutually assured destruction. That's why they don't use it on each other. It's like nukes. You know what I mean? And I think what could also potentially happen is, like, I think a lot of UFOs, if not all of them, or like a good chunk, 90% of them are extraterrestrial or what have you, or unknown, I guess you could say. I don't think they're human. I think there is a chunk that are human. And I think we do have technology that could facilitate that, but maybe I'm just being a gullible human.
I want to just make it known that the host and I have been seeing UFOs.
We have, and for the first time in my life, first time in your life too.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. I seen them by myself after you told me to basically just take a walk outside and see what happens. And then I seen him with somebody else, and we even like took a picture and video. And at first I thought it was a satellite, but then it shifted directions and went around this other orb that was floating low in the sky, which was kind of crazy.
They're out here.
They're out here. They're doing business. What are they doing? What's the business? Who knows? It's crazy though. The world is a pretty interesting place. I'm really starting to realize that the world is a really interesting place. It's more stranger than fiction, as they say.
Yeah.
According to author Stephen Kinzer, the CIA project was a continuation of the work begun in the World War II era Japanese facilities and Nazi concentration camps on subduing and controlling human minds. Wouldn't out in the middle of nowhere at sea be the perfect place to perform mind control experiments? Of course it would be. Before I continue, let me assure you, I'm well aware of reports about Russians having seen these underwater submerged objects, and we'll eventually get there, trust me. It's very complicated, and it's also hidden in plain sight. So if Bill Cooper was right, and there is a Project Bluebeam, what other proof do we have? Where can we look into the warning signs? Where should we look to find there's a big overarching plan to establish a new AI world government order through a fake alien invasion? Is this the new normal? Didn't they just say we're going through a great reset? Don't they want to build back better? Buckle up. Let's get the obvious out of the way. Project Blue Book. Why would they call it Project Blue Book? Doesn't it strike anyone odd as that blue seems to be a recurring theme when it comes to all these projects? Or how about one of the MK Ultra projects called Project Bluebird?
It's the same thing as like it's probably where he gets it from, but in Twin Peaks with David Lynch, the color blue just it's like it's otherworldly.
You know what's funny is when I was reading all this, I kind of looked up what blue meant, like in a cult practice, and it kind of did come up to like something. It said that blue robes or blue candles are sometimes used in ceremonial magic for invoking commanding speech, psychic clarity, or dominion through the word. In Thelema or ceremonial magic, blue can signify the power of divine will expressed through control of language. This, if unbalanced, becomes a manipulative force. And Enochian magic, linked to John Dee and Edward Kelly, sometimes associates deep blue energies with angelic or astral intelligences, beings capable of influence far beyond the physical, including psychic persuasion. So that was kind of something I found a little interesting too, because it kind of relates to that. Project Bluebird, you know, the secret program that breaks down a human to be reconditioned and reprogrammed. But hey, nothing to see here. Nope. But how would they pull off a massive aerial phenomenon invasion? Wouldn't that take a massive amount of coordination? Wouldn't that mean brainwashing a whole bunch of pilots to buy into the program? Yes, unless that is they were using drones. But how would they pull that off? Project Bluebird, an AI system for air traffic control. Advancing probabilistic machine learning to deliver safer, more efficient, and predictable air traffic control. Crap, yeah. What are the odds that they have an AI algorithm called Project Bluebird that can direct air traffic control, named the same as a secret government project to brainwash people? Moving on. Blue Brain Project. Its mission is to use biologically detailed digital reconstructions and simulations of the mammalian brain to identify the fundamental principles of brain structure and function. Getting freaked out yet? These are an awful lot of projects called Blue for no particular reason, aren't they? But wait, there's more. And remember, they want to establish... I will admit the blue thing was a little bit much, but yeah, I think this guy went a little bit too deep into the blue. Remember, they want to establish an AI one world government, are going to use Project Bluebeam to get there. The EPFL brought the Blue Gene computer at a reduced cost because it was still a prototype, and IBM was still interested in exploring how applications would perform on the machine. The BBP, Blue Brain Project, was viewed as a validation of the Blue Gene supercomputer concept. Lots of blue. Okay, IBM, no biggie, right after all. Aren't they known as Big Blue? Oh crap, hold up, back up. IBM nickname Big Blue remains a big mystery.
That's Superman's nickname.
I didn't know that. This guy goes, that's strange, isn't it? When the company put one of its computers up against Garry Kasparov in a chess match in 1997, IBM called the machine Deep Blue. More recently, it pushed frontiers in supercomputing with the Blue Gene. But that's not proof, right? That's just a color. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, but let me be paranoid for just a little while longer. Who helped out the Nazis with their organization when it came to organizing the eugenics program? Yep, IBM. And where did all the Nazi scientists go when the war was over in Project Paperclip? The United States. And who was the lead Nazi rocket scientist? There is no doubt in my mind that Warner von Braun knew about the extraterrestrial issue. He explained to me the reasons why weapons were going to be put into space. Oh, this is what that lady said that we watched earlier.
Yeah.
The enemies against whom we were going to build these weapons, and that all of that was a lie. He mentioned the extraterrestrials were going to be identified as the final enemy against whom we were going to build space-based weapons back in 1974. Is this quote real, or is it fake? Don't know. I always assumed it was fake. Now I'm not so sure. Not at all, because I remember what happened just before the pandemic. Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us, also known as the Area 51 raid. What a perfect way to draw everyone's attention, Area 51, and our demand to know about aliens. Then what about those mysterious monoliths that started popping up out of the blue? I like how he said that. Pun intended. Then what about Space Force suddenly being brought out into the public's view after never really being talked about despite it existing as part of the Air Force? Or how about the American government sneaking in what disclosure demand into the budget bill? Do you really think all this was a coincidence? Or do you think it was orchestrated? Do you really think all these projects called Blue aren't all part of the same overarching umbrella? Because please don't forget, those same Nazi scientists didn't just work on rockets. They also worked on MKUltra. Kinzer wrote that MKUltra's use of mescaline in unwitting subjects was a practice that Nazi doctors had begun in the Dachau concentration camp. Kinzer proposes evidence of the continuation of a Nazi agenda, citing the CIA's secret recruitment of Nazi torturers and vivisectionists, continued the experimentation on thousands of subjects and Nazis brought to Fort Detrick, Maryland to instruct CIA officers on the lethal uses of sarin gas. MKUltra and Fort Detrick, and we just happen to have a pandemic happening, shock and awe, which required a VAX program called Operation Warp Speed. Isn't that a funny name for a VAX program? Why not call it, Operation Save Lives or Operation Vaccination? That's amazing. That was a good one.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, the American agenda isn't the only one using a space-based name for their VAX program, are they? Nope. Montenegro launches anti-COVID vax with Russia's Sputnik V vaccine. I promise I'll get more in depth on the Russians later. As if it wasn't bad enough, let's take a quick peek at what Biotech Initiative is calling their program, Wellcome Leap, with initial funding of £250 million furnished by the Wellcome Trust. Wellcome Leap is led by the former U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, Director Regina E. Dugan. And for those that don't remember, if I'm not mistaken, Regina Dugan was the one who supposedly was part of the time travelers, Barack Obama and the other guy. They supposedly time traveled and did all this other shit. A previous episode, you want to hear about that? Look at the Secret Alien History and Time Travelers episode. Illumina CEO Jay Flatley, Wellcome Leap will operate independently from Wellcome to encourage speed, agility, and appetite for risk-taking. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And what's the tagline? Just as Sputnik ignited the space age, so too could the coronavirus inspire the health age. Man, COVID-19 sure did cause a lot of associations with outer space, didn't it? Strange, wouldn't you say? And I just want to also bring up, remember that tablet where Grimes in 2019, she posted a tablet and it showed like a virus and all this other stuff, and then it showed like the UFOs at the end of it.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Could be related.
I can't wait.
It just so happened to line up nicely with the pandemic. It sure is. And wait a minute, isn't Jeff Bezos calling his space program Blue Origin? Sure is. So we have a ton of references to blue in the mind to blue and AI to blue and outer space. Is there anything else? Why, I'm glad you asked. Blue Skies Research, also called Blue Sky Science, is a scientific research in which domains where real-world applications are not immediately apparent has been defined as research without a clear goal. That sounds awesome, actually. And the 1957 launch of Sputnik prompted the U.S. Air Force Office of Scientific Research to sponsor Blue Skies research into the 60s. Sure, you could think that I'm stretching credulity here. Except the Blue Sky Memo was a document authored by the CIA. The premise of the memo was to describe the actions the CIA should undertake if it did not have to operate under legal, financial, and political restrictions. That is to say, if the sky were blue. The memorandum was inspired by the U.S.S. Cole bombing and written in the final weeks of the Clinton administration. It was delivered to Richard A. Clarke on December 29, 2000. Let's get this straight. We have a blue sky memo that was delivered just before 2001. It described how the CIA could operate if they didn't have any legal, financial, or political restrictions. Then, never forget happens, and suddenly the Pentagon can't account for a lot of money. Why does anyone ask Rumsfeld where 2.3 trillion went? It was forgotten in the wake of Never Forget, but on 9/10, the Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld, said, according to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions. The adversary is closer to home. It's the Pentagon bureaucracy. In fact, it could be said that it's a matter of life and death. So the CIA just so happens to write a memo called Blue Sky, then a whole lot of money goes unaccounted for in the Pentagon the next day. Was the money earmarked for the advancement of AI and Project Bluebeam? Because here we are over 20 years later with a massive focus on UFOs. Final thoughts. I've said it since the start, words matter. And they may not matter anywhere else as much as they matter here. None of this is a coincidence, and it's all connected, all of it. They want AI world government, and they'll do whatever they can to accomplish it. My only lingering questions are this. Is Russia a part of Project Bluebeam, or have they actually broken away? Or are they playing both sides to see who comes out on top? America and the Five Eyes, or the People's Republic of China? And you've been subscribed to my posts and following me. Don't forget about the trilogy that came out of China called The Three-Body Problem.
Yes, dude.
About an alien invasion of our planet.
Great.
It was so prominently featured by Obama that I just couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about all of it. We'll delve into that later on. My question about the three-body problem, was the book title actually about a physics problem, or was it a metaphor to describe a modern-day 84 involving Russia, China, and the United States of America? Because I want you to think long and hard about what I'm about to show you next. Think about the name, Event 201. Doesn't that seem off? Why would you call a pandemic Event 201? Just didn't make sense to me until I noticed it staring at me right in the face. Take a look at the logo. I'm going to look at that real quick because I don't know what the logo looks like.
Yeah, let's check it out. Let's see what the stupid logo looks like. What is that?
Oh, it's the world on fire. And this is as the world burns.
And it's blue.
And it's blue. I didn't even think about that.
It's a fire in the sky.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it is.
Oh, shit.
Okay. I see where this guy's going with it. It's a fire in the sky. Notice how there's a globe in the middle? Sure, it's a global pandemic, no problem. But why that number? Was there an event 200? Not that we know of, so then why? Well, think about it. If Russia is a part of Bluebeam, that would officially leave us with 2 world superpowers left, 2. And they want a one-world AI government, don't they? Event 201, it's the event that will take us from 2 superpowers down to a one-world AI government. Event 2-1. And if you still think there isn't such a thing coming, take a look at this. The wealthy are plotting to leave us behind. I think I know what this is going to talk about.
Underworld cities? Underground cities?
I think it's actually going to talk about Mars.
Oh, yeah, just leave the planet. Well, that's what like scientists tell us that they're doing. They're like, yeah, we need to figure out how to get off our planet in case our planet goes to shit.
Survival of the richest. The wealthy are plotting to leave us behind. July 5th, 2018. By Douglas Rushkoff. This piece is now the basis of a new book, Survival of the Richest, Escape Fantasies of the Tech Billionaires. Last year, I got invited to a super deluxe private resort to deliver a keynote speech of what I assumed would be 100 or so investment bankers. By far the largest fee I had ever been offered for a talk, about half my annual professor's salary. All to deliver some insight on the subject of the future of technology. I've never liked talking about the future. Q&A sessions always end up more like parlor games, and where I'm asked to opine on the latest technology buzzwords as if they were ticker symbols for potential investments. Blockchain, 3D printing, CRISPR. The audiences are rarely interested in learning about these technologies or their potential impacts beyond the binary choice of whether or not to invest in them. But money talks, so I took the gig. After I arrived, I was ushered into what I thought was the green room, but instead of being wired with a microphone or taken to a stage, I just sat there at a plain round table as my audience was brought to me. 5 super wealthy guys, yes, all men, from the upper echelon of the hedge fund world. After a bit of small talk, they started out innocuous enough. Ethereum or Bitcoin? Is quantum computing a real thing? Slowly but surely, however, they edge into their real topics of concern. Which region will be less impacted by the coming climate crisis? New Zealand or Alaska? Is Google really building Ray Kurzweil a home for his brain? And will his consciousness live through the transition, or will it die and be reborn as a whole new one? Finally, that's crazy. Finally, the CEO of a brokerage house explained that he had nearly completed building his own underground bunker system and asked, "How do I maintain authority over my security force after the event?" That sounds like Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg said that.
Why?
It just sounds like he would be like weak and would be like, would say robotically, like, if my security turn on me, how do I control them so that they don't turn on me? You know what I mean?
You just gotta hire the Suicide Squad so they have bombs in their heads.
Oh, that's all you got to do.
He could make his own version and call it Face Bomb.
Face
Face
bomb.
Boom? Face Boom,
Face-
because it's almost like book.
Face boom. I like face boom. That's a good one. For all their wealth and power, they don't believe they can affect the future. I doubt that's true. The event that was their euphemism for the environmental collapse, social unrest, or nuclear explosion, unstoppable virus, or Mr. Robot hack that takes everything down. That's funny. This was 2018 before another unstoppable virus. This single question occupied us for the rest of the hour. They knew armed guards would be required to protect their compounds from the angry mobs. But how would they pay the guards once the money was worthless?
Yep.
What would stop the guards from choosing their own leader? The billionaires considered using special combination locks on the food supply that only they knew, or making the guards wear disciplinary collars of some kind in return for their survival.
Whoa.
That's like what you were just saying, kind of, right? Like locking them in, kind of. Maybe not blowing their heads up, but, you know, keeping them in line.
Saying like, if you don't follow me, you will die.
Yeah. Or maybe building robots to serve as guards and workers if that technology could be developed in time. That's when it hit me. At least as far as these gentlemen were concerned, this was a talk about the future of technology. Taking their cue from Elon Musk colonizing Mars, Peter Thiel reversing the aging process, or Sam Altman and Ray Kurzweil uploading their minds into supercomputers. They were preparing for a digital future that had a whole lot less to do with the making the world a better place than it did with transcending the human condition altogether, and insulating themselves from a very real and present danger of climate change, rising sea levels, and mass migrations, global pandemics, nativist panic, and resource depletion. For them, the future of technology is really about just one thing: escape. There's nothing wrong with madly optimistic appraisals of how technology might benefit. There's nothing wrong with madly optimistic appraisals of how technology might benefit human society. But the current drive for a post-human utopia is something else. It's less a vision for the wholesale migration of humanity to a new state of being than a quest to transcend all that is human. The body, interdependence, compassion, vulnerability, and complexity, as technology philosophers have been pointing out for years. Now the transhumanist vision too easily reduces all reality to data, concluding that humans are nothing but information processing objects. It's a reduction of the human evolution to a video game that someone wins by finding the escape hatch and then letting a few of his BFFs come along for the ride. Will it be Musk, Bezos, Thiel, Zuckerberg? These billionaires are the presumptive winners of the digital economy. The same survival of the fittest business escape then that's fueling most of this speculation to begin with. Of course, it isn't always this way. There was a brief moment in the early 90s when the digital future felt open-minded and up for our invention. Technology was becoming a playground for the counterculture, who saw in it the opportunity to create a more inclusive, distributed, and pro-human future. But established business interests only saw new potentials for the same mold extraction, and too many technologists were seduced by unicorn IPOs. Digital futures became understood more like stock futures or cotton futures, something to predict and make bets on. So nearly every speech, article, study, documentary, or white paper was seen as relevant only insofar as it pointed to a ticker symbol. The future became less a thing we create through our present-day choices or hopes for mankind than a predestined scenario we bet on with our venture capital, but arrive at passively. This freed everyone from the moral implications of their activities, Technology development became less a story of collective flourishing than personal survival. Worse, as I learned to call attention to any of this, was to unintentionally cast oneself as an enemy of the market or an anti-technology curmudgeon. So instead of considering the practical ethics of impoverishing and exploiting the many in the name of the few, most academic journalists and science fiction writers instead considered much more abstract and fanciful conundrums. Is it fair for a stock trader to use smart drugs? Should children get implants for foreign languages? Do we want autonomous vehicles to prioritize the lives of pedestrians over those of its passengers? Should the first Mars colony be run as democracies? Does changing my DNA undermine my identity? And should robots have rights? Asking these sorts of questions, while philosophically entertaining, is a poor substitute for wrestling with the real moral quandaries associated with unbridled technological development in the name of corporate capitalism. I kind of agree with that. We could be figuring out how to fix problems, but instead we're just putting band-aids on them, I guess.
Yeah.
Most of us became aware of these downsides in the form of automated jobs, the gig economy, and the demise of local retail. Think Amazon and Walmart. The future became less a thing we create through our present-day choices or hopes for mankind than a predestined scenario we bet on with our venture capital, but arrive at passively. And that's just quoting what it said earlier. But the more devastating impacts of the pedal to the metal, digital capitalism fall onto the environment, global poor. The manufacture of some of our computers and smartphones still uses networks of slave labor. These practices are so deeply entrenched that a company called Fairphone, founded from the ground up to make market-ethical phones, learned it was impossible. The company's founder now sadly refers to their products as fairer phones. Meanwhile, the mining of rare earth materials and disposal of our highly digital technologies destroys human habitats, replacing them with toxic waste dumps, which are then picked over by peasant children and their families who sell usable materials back to the manufacturers. This out of sight, out of mind externalization of poverty and poison doesn't go away just because we've covered our eyes with VR goggles and immersed ourselves in an alternate reality. If anything, the longer we ignore the social, economic, and environmental repercussions, the more of a problem they become. This in turn motivates even more withdrawal, more isolationism and apocalyptic fantasy, and more desperate concocted technologies and business plans. The cycle feeds itself. All right, I think we get what they're saying though, but that is pretty fun and pretty interesting. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, dude?
Yeah, so 5 super wealthy guys from the upper echelon of the hedge fund world, after a bit of small talk, yada yada. Oh, this guy just repeats what they said. Anyways, the event 201 is the next step in Project Bluebeam's fake alien invasion, the next step to an AI one world government. Buckle up. I think it's interesting, everything that everybody's saying about Project Bluebeam. It's all interesting stuff.
It is.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think Project Bluebeam might be a distraction away from like the fact that aliens are crazier than we could even possibly imagine and are actually on their way to like take control of the government? And maybe this is like a way to make the government seem like they're the only thing that we have to worry about and we don't have to worry about aliens.
So when they brought up the 3-body problem, it was interesting to like hear them talk about it as just like a tool in this conspiracy, but it's actually a really good example of what we should be talking about, which is that like just the endless possibilities and that like so many things could all be happening at once. It could be these otherworldly beings are not even from our reality, they're like reaching out to us. It could be like that. It could also be like at the same time these very real physical aliens that are like dominating our space and like they control everything above Earth, and that could all be happening at once.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And the government could also be trying to like control the narrative with a Project Bluebeam. But also the government could also possibly not even really know about all this stuff, and that like they are just trying to make it up. But at the same time, there's like real phenomena that they have to deal with.
Imagine that you're trying to make up shit and you're trying to lead people astray, but then all this real shit is happening, so you're trying to figure it out, but you're just contradicting yourself so much. There's no way that would ever work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Starlink is Project Bluebeam. The array of satellites is designed to project images on the sky. That's what one random person said. I think it is interesting, though. Either way, we are, like, heading towards a really crazy, like world, because, you know, you got that bogosphere, and people are studying it and, like, x-raying it, and it's, like, so basic, but, like, it could, like, have, like, advanced technology or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's just far beyond our understanding. That's crazy. It's amazing.
I don't know what to feel about whatever it's called, the boogosphere.
Dude, I think it's real. One, I think it's real because of all, like, the ancient, like, things in that orb of Fortuna. Remember we talked about that? There was that thing, the orb of Fortuna, which almost seemed a lot like it. Also, there was like another one that was spotted somewhere else, and it also reminded me of something, like a picture I saw back in, like, November of 2024 of, like, in Britain. I think this might have even, like, been a picture that was in, like, August or July. It was on a tarmac, and it was just an orb floating on a like a British tarmac. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. But it looked a lot like that. It had almost the same kind of, like, shape.
Weird.
Like, almost like ridges on it and shit. It could be something. I don't know. The Great Reset is not what you think. This is from 2 months ago. We currently have one rise of AI and singularity forecasted for 2027. UFO whistleblowers, mainly Lou Elizondo, pointing to something alien-related taking place in 2027. And spiritual people talking about ascension taking place now and continuing throughout the next years. 4, Ray Kurzweil talking about human immortality and uploading people's consciousness to the cloud and merging humans with technology before singularity happens. 5, people talking about Nibiru arriving into Earth's orbit in 2027. And humanity is in tribulation that will end with Jesus Christ in the second coming. Okay. Number 8.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, things are ramping up here. Stephen Greer talking about, that's like what you were saying, where just everything happens at once. We get aliens invading. We get the, you know, Jesus Christ coming back, the sequel.
Jesus Christ is coming back, and he's an Anunnaki.
And he's an Anunnaki. Just remember, you heard it here first. Stephen Greer talking about elites inciting interplanetary conflict in the next couple of years. Bluebeam. So maybe Stephen, you know, maybe Bluebeam is a psyop in and of itself. They're trying to make people think that the government is in control of the alien threat, when really they're not. And really, you know, it's just all of them losing control and trying to establish a broader control on everything. Possibility of a World War III, that's number 9. Number 10 is the rise of cancers, brought to you by the World Health Organization. Number 11, Grimes tablets in a recent comment about a depopulation event coming soon. And recent discovery by Melvin Vopson, indirectly proving we might live in a simulation. I want to find out about that. That's crazy. Tech moguls building 10 MW data centers. What data center would require that amount of energy? Only a digital twin simulation of the actual world. Huh, that's funny. To top it off, a lot of people now experiencing things like extreme fatigue, emotions and senses dulled, feelings of impending doom. Companies reporting higher percentage of burnout across their personnel. People are experiencing weird synchronicities, like their surroundings mimicking itself, or an almost instant manifestation of their thoughts. Some folks are reporting very odd health issues, like the clouds in the sky looking like a 2D static picture. I don't know what the fuck is going on. What are we prepared for? What is prepared for us? But it is quite concerning. Almost seems like humans will be uploaded or archived in some sort of alternative reality, or they will increase the energy utilization to cause a manual reset of the simulation by someone from the outside. Interesting.
I just, like, I don't like the idea of uploading, because it's like, couldn't you just get turned off?
Yeah, why?
Just, like, turn you off?
I've said this to you before. I don't like the idea of uploading because of, like, the Carrington event and stuff like that. Like, what if we experience, like, something so massive that, like, wipes us out completely, like all electronics completely? That could happen. Like you said, like, what if we just get turned off? Like, that's it. You're done.
That's it. Done.
I don't like the idea of plugging your brain into like putting a chip in your brain for the same idea. If that thing gets fried, then that means you're getting fried.
Look up the connections of David Lynch and Project Bluebeam or Project Blue Book and MK Ultra.
David Lynch as a Monarch whistleblower.
There you go. Project Monarch's pretty fucking depressing.
Yeah. Mulholland Drive is frequently interpreted as a symbolic breakdown of Hollywood Monarch sex kitten program, involving trauma-based mind control, identity-splitting handlers, and ritual abuse.
Correct.
Betty Diane represents the dual persona, the hallmark of alleged Monarch programming. The mysterious cowboy and the sinister director are thought to be handler archetypes. The switch from dreamlike innocence to horror mirrors MKUltra trauma fracturing. Conspiracy theorists believe that Twin Peaks is a coded blueprint for SRA, satanic ritual abuse culture, interdimensional parasitic entities used in occult mind control like the Black Lodge entities, Project Monarch survivor psychology via characters like Laura Palmer, a girl traumatized and abused by forces both human and supernatural, and the return includes what looks like a nuclear ritual to tear open reality which mirrors ideas about MKUltra experimentation with occult science and trauma to open portals or contact entities. It says, researchers like Fritz Springmeier, Kathy O'Brien, Jay Dyer claim Hollywood is the primary dissemination hub for MKUltra content, and Lynch is often at the center of this speculation. Lynch worked for ABC, Showtime, and other media channels allegedly influenced by intelligence assets. His projects often feature ritualistic abuse, memory suppression, coded trauma, and splintered identities, all matching Monarch mind control archetypes. Jay Dyer in particular connects Lynch's work to an elite-level knowledge of symbolism, mind control dualism, and spiritual possession. It's not entertainment, it's a ritual. Some believe Lynch participates in what they call a Luciferian or Gnostic revelation of the method, where occultists subtly reveal their practices and systems through art to numb the public through fictional exposure or fulfill some kind of karmic cosmic obligation. Lynch's interviews, cryptic behavior, and promotion of transcendental meditation are seen as potential signs of occult training, MKUltra adjacent exploration of altered states, or participation in mystery school style grooming of creatives.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's the cool shit I'm talking about. As fucked up as that sounds.
What, Hollywood secretly giving away satanic rituals and shit?
Yeah, just like also the fact that like this is like connected to it. Like this is like a cool analogy for it.